Well, we welcome you all back after the long summer break. It's race day in the International GT Open here for round 6 at Red Bull Ring. And now we take a 5-race dance to the checkered flag of the season here in 2025. But here at Red Bull Ring, we're set to go again. 4.326 kilometers in length, 10 turns to take us through, 7 to the right, 3 to the left, with a 70-minute race in front of us, a driver change period in the middle as well to match. We're going to be in for a real treat. Air temperatures now on the rise, 21 degrees now, with humidity taking a slight decline, as we would have expected, given the sunshine that has been beaming across the Styrian Mountains so far all morning, and a championship fight that is surely going to flourish. There's a mere 7 points at the moment between Levente Reves of Moto Park and Austria's very own Simon Riker, and of course Christopher Haase driving for Easterlent Racing Audi. Tom Emson and Tom Leben currently sit in third place on 79 points, currently 3 behind Riker and Haase as it stands. It's still a very close contest, but it was Max Hesse who parked his car on pole position ahead of our race coming up this afternoon. And of course, Tom Leben and Tom Emson will join them on the front row in the Ferrari 296. George Morgan here in the George Morgan, your commentator, in the commentary box this weekend. Joining me once more, it's Chris Stevens.
Hello, George. And yes, very impressive performance in qualifying from Max Hesse, putting it on pole position. There's a good number of Pro-Am cars fighting up at the front of the field, and the car on pole position is one of them. And Max Hesse, alongside his bronze driver Antal Zigo, after a debut performance in Budapest, where Max again was fighting up at the front of the field. Looks like they'll be with us for the rest of the season, and hopefully throughout next year as well. Great to have a BMW back on the grid, and in fact we have 2 of them this weekend, but more on that. There is Josh Rattican, one of the stars of qualifying, his first ever GT3 qualifying for Greystone, the new pro car that they've entered, the number 27 machine, alongside the 33 of Dean McDonald and James Curl that's fielded the whole season long. And Josh Rattican alongside Jaden Kelly from the McLaren Artura series. They are very much looking forward to their GT3 debut for both drivers. There is that second BMW I was just alluding to, the long-awaited debut of Poulsen Motorsport. Jens Klingman, the BMW factory driver, putting that car 9th on the 7th on the grid, I should say, actually, after a very impressive qualifying. Poulsen has not run a car all year long, and it's their first weekend with that Evo car as well. There is the championship leading car. Maxi Goertz will start the number 11 Motor Park Mercedes. Levente Reves, his teammate, is the championship leader. It's been a split campaign for Maxi. Levente's had various teammates throughout the year, owing to Maxi's very, very busy racing schedule this year. Another home hero here, Baron Motorsport, the Vienna-based squad, and it's Philip Baron, who was the top bronze driver in qualifying, 4th amongst the Pro-Am runners and 10th overall. Very, very impressive stuff for Baron, who is filling in this weekend for Masoud Jabirian in the number 92 car, and Baron Motorsport with 2 cars here this weekend as well. Yeah, we
also welcome Dutch driver Jelmer Berman in the number 11 grid spots as we look ahead. Team Motor Park obviously looking for a big run this weekend. Currently sat at the top of the team's championship at the moment too. 64 points against their name. They are 6 ahead of Easterlent Racing, who are currently in second and looking to bring home yet another title into their palms. And I must say, Easterlent are actually quietly confident. Let's move backwards again to Michele Rugolo, who is currently dominant. I tell you what, this pairing are on a rampant run in the AM class at the moment. A full sequence of wins in class so far, 5 in total. And I must say, 6 wouldn't be out of the question. James Kell lining up for Greystone GT as well. Arguably another team with misfortune, really. After a sensational opening to the season back at Portimao, they got unstuck at Spa after an electrical failure, missing out on a very important win during the Spa 500. Simon Riker, of course, reigning champions, Christopher Haase and Simon Riker, looking ahead to yet another race, this time their home race, and they were quietly confident, Chris.
They were, victorious here last year as well, as was this team, Oregon. Changes for them as well. It's Mirko Bortolotti that Artem Petrov will be handing over that car to in the second part of the race. Similarly, Enzo Garasi also making his GT3 debut in the number 19 car, being started by Robin Rogalski. But yes, East Talent feeling very good about their chances. Obviously, Simon Riker going from 14th on the grid doesn't look like much, but we know Simon can be a very quick driver. And of course, Christopher Haas will be hoping to charge through the field in the second part of the race. Of course, it's a slight role reversal. Their title rival has got their quick driver in for the start. As we see Marcus Pavarud in the Santaloc Audi, one of 4 Audis that we still have on the grid, and expecting to still have Audis on the grid next year as well. Steve Yance there, the Pro-Am Championship leader, one of the quickest bronze drivers in qualifying. He's 7th in class with only one bronze driver in his category in front of him. He and Aaron Walker on a very good vein of form, having won 3 races so far this year, and it's only 2 points between themselves in the SBS pairing of Valentin Pierberg and Dominic Baumann. That has been a very, very entertaining fight throughout the season. In addition to the overall championship, Team ISR, supposed to be 2 cars for them this weekend, but unfortunately lost the Maltarek father and son combination of Christian and Yerko after that car was heavily damaged in qualifying. So it is 33 cars that will take the start for this 70-minute race, our biggest starting grid of the year, at a very picturesque Red Bull Ring. The scenery here, absolutely stunning. We saw from that opening shot looking over the circuit, and it is a beautiful day here in the Styrian Mountains. The grid being cleared, we can see those lining up at the back, some of the AM runners. That'll be a very close fight in there as well as the onlookers.
Highlights from last round at Paul Ricard, and it was a busy start indeed. The initial start, though, good for Anthony Bartone at the very beginning as they came through turn 1. Elite Motorsport were also on the rise as well. They had to and fro with the AF Corsa coming through the latter sector. Side by side, though, as we saw them come through the final corners, Levente Ravesh back in big, bold form along with Maxi Gertz as well, would later storm to victory, yet again enlisting yet another win, their 3rd of the campaign thus far. Then we moved into race 2 competition, and again, a very hectic start. Wheel to wheel, obviously, with the Marcello Ramirez Mercedes that also suffered a bit of a puncture fate later on, unfortunately for Rolf Aaron. They once again came out onto the track, though, up at the front. We saw the Optima Motorsport McLaren making its way through the first sector, and it was side by side again with the Greystone GT McLaren also entering its name into the fold. This was the big smash, though. We had the car collection Porsche belonging to Haas straight into the side of Dominic, or into the rear of Dominic Baumann, which sent it right into the barrier. But it was a first win of the season going the way of Carl Bennett and Tommaso Mosca in a very important win for them this season. This is how the championship looks. It's Levente Ravesh on 99 points, 1 away from that massive 100. Simon Riker and Christopher Haas, though, only 7 points away with Tom Emson and Tom Leben, 20 points back. Still a richly competitive championship lies ahead with 3 rounds to go. Well, now, as the cars await to get going, we'll have a formation lap to bring you as standard. But now, as the 33 cars line up, we'll take you through that very grid. Starting from pole position, it's Max Hesse in the BMW M4 GT3 Evo, standing alongside Tom Leben from Elite Motorsport Ferrari. Carol Bash starts 3rd in their McLaren, obviously swapping from the Audi for this weekend. Fabian Schiller lines up in the Mercedes-AMG GT3 in 4th. Moving on to the 3rd row, we then meet Josh Ratican, who lines up alongside Dominic Baumann. Of course, big weekend here for Josh Ratican, and his gracing us with his presence for the first time in GT3. 7th place for Jens Klingsmann in the BMW M4 GT3 alongside Maxi Gertz in the Mercedes-AMG GT3. Carl Bennett, last time out, a race winner, lines up alongside Phil Barron, who steps in for his own team this weekend. 11th place for Jelmer Berman. In 11th then comes Michele Rugolo on a 5-race winning streak. Can he make it 6? James Kell in 13th. Simon Riker in 14th as well. The current champions looking to take a home win this weekend, with Artem Petrov looking to give Oregon team another big race here at Styria. Zach Meekin lines up alongside him in 16th for Optimum. Santaloc with Marcus Pavrud in 17th, with Steve Jans in 18th place, leading the Pro-Am title at the moment, with Robin Rogalski down in 19th ahead of Libor Milotta in 20th spot. 21st place for Ernst Kirkmeyer, lines up alongside AM Championship contender Mark Sampson in the McLaren 720S GT3. Lewis Michael Dorbecker lines up in 23rd alongside former champion Heiko Neumann in 24th spot. Further back, we also have Johannes Zelger in 25th with Khalil Letlarka lining up in 26th place in the Ferrari, with Maxim Kizilov, fresh out of Dynamic GT, now moving into Car Collection in 27th. And of course, he'll be lining up alongside 28th place Darren Kell. Dexter Muller in 29th. Alongside him, Marcelo Ramirez, and all Mercedes row there, with 31st going to Amir Naran in that 31st place. Alongside him, the 32nd place, Alfredo Hernandez. And then last but certainly not least, it's Stanislav Jidlinski in the sister Olymp Racing Ferrari. Well, now as the formation lap is well and truly underway, we're coming through the middle sector now. Big opportunities here for all involved. Of course, remember, Max Hesse will be swapping in during the driver change period. That is a Pro-Am entry on front spot, folks. The immediate eyes will be looking at Tom Leben and also the likes of Fabian Schiller. Josh Rattican in his debut appearance as well. Could be a big chance for Rattican and his teammate to actually perform on debut.
It certainly is, but it's worth remembering they will have to take 10 seconds of handicap as a new entry for this weekend, as will a number of the teams. There are handicaps all over the place. We'll keep
probably the most we've seen, actually.
Yeah, because of the number of new entries we have. So we'll keep you abreast of those when the driver change window opens 28 minutes into the race. For now, though, it's Max Hesse up at the front of the field. Crucially, though, the top two cars in the pro category are unhandicapped. So keep an eye on the progress of Tom Leben and Fabian Schiller.
Yeah, of course, Fabian Schiller knows exactly what it takes to win in the International GT Open. Has done it many times already in the past, that's for sure. He's yet to win, though, this season. Has taken a second place. That has been his highest finish recorded so far this campaign. But you never know. Red Bull Ring could come their way. Max Hesse, though, will take them through the final two corners with Tom Leben, who's going to meet him every which way through turn 1 and then later on the rise through towards turn 3, where it starts to condense a little bit. But now we mark 5 final races in the 2025 season where we'll look to crown a champion. It all starts here as we come to the final frontier. A long way to go to Monza, but he'll be with us in a hurry as they put pedal to the metal. And it's go, 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 go. We're away in Styria. It is still Max Hesse who leads the way. He has the better line coming through turn 1, but Leben is still going to go on a hard charge, takes the escape, cuts well and truly over the curb, and we've got a spinner. Now, what on earth was that? Coming through that first corner, it looks like that's Johannes Zelger, I think, if I'm not mistaken, as they now look to fly uphill. It is still at the moment Tom Leben who may lead the way, but he's got to give the position back surely to Max Hesse. In comes as well. In comes Fabian Schiller around the outside, being met also by Carol Bash. Down the inside is now stripped over through turn 3, down the back straight, down into Slosh Gold. A huge mix-up further back in the rear as well, as we ride on board with Philip Barron as they now fly down through towards turn 4 this time, but now back with the lead. Max Hesse, Leben in second, and further back it is Fabian Schiller in third.
Yeah, Tom Leben made exactly the right call there, yielding the place. He took it off the racetrack. If you put 2 wheels over that yellow sausage curb, you are in trouble. We've got dramas for a Motorpark Mercedes with smoke billowing out of it, and that looks like it's the championship leader. It is Maxi Gertz with a puncture on the right-hand side. A spin there for the Garage 59 car as well, going through turn number 6, probably in avoidance, but that is dramas for the championship leading car, going slowly with a puncture on the first lap here, as the Garage 59 car, Mark Sampson, who started that car, makes his way back out onto the circuit.
Well, that's the championship leader and also the AM Championship contender, basically having a moment at that very spot. Obviously, it's a little bit more severe for Maxi Gertz, however. He's going to have that tyre looked at, or whatever's causing that smoke to come out of the rear. I would estimate it's a tyre. Jens Klingsman now ahead of Barron as well. Philip Barron dropping down to 9th place as they cruise through Niki Lauda curb again. It is still Hesse, though, who leads the way. Leben, Schiller, Bash, Baumann, Rattican, Bennett. Klingman now holding on to 8th place as they now fly uphill and into every braking zone. And the safety car now has been deployed because Dexter Muller has, unfortunately, I saw him fall through the order, actually, and I wondered whether he might have been involved in perhaps a collision with of course, the car belonging to Maxi Gertz, whether that might have caused, maybe there was a rub or something like that on the run-up through towards the first or third corner, but so into the pits comes Ravesh. Well, not Ravesh, but Gertz.
It's right rear. and they'll slap a new Michelin on that. Hopefully, he hasn't done too much damage to the bodywork underneath it as well. That's the real drama. I did see the tyre was delaminating somewhat, but yeah, we are under safety car on the second lap here at the Red Bull Ring. Dramas for the championship leader. This is now an open door for East Talent to try and walk through. Simon Riker made up 3 places on that opening lap. He's up to 11th place at the moment. Before all that started kicking off, I was going to say, great job Fabian Schiller getting around the outside of Karel Basch for 3rd place. That's quite a critical move. It puts him on the back of his class rival. Expect the Pro-Am cars, the cars with the blue background number there, they should fall back. Well, the ones who've got their pros in at the moment anyway. So that's Max Hesse, Karel Basch, Dominic Baumann, Jelmer Berman and Marcus Pavarud. They'll be handing over to their bronze drivers in the second part of the race. Expect them to fall back down the order.
And more imperatively, obviously, you allude to the Fabian Schiller move around the outside, obviously rising up the order, but also on top of that, not being handicapped, Chris, as well.
Neither of them are.
No, neither of them are. But you know, precisely the point. This gives them that extra advantage over everybody else. These early moves, these early place gains, so essential, especially for this Anthony Bartone, Fabian Schiller sort of combination. They need to extract the very best. This could be a first win here at Red Bull Ring if they can pull it off. Obviously, we've still got a long way to go until we reach the checkered flag, but the safety car now quite critically, oh my goodness, there is still bodywork on the back of Maxi Goetz's car.
So that would have been caused by the tyre delamination. Maxi Goetz trying to catch up to the safety car queue. And the fact that it's flapping around like that might even attract the attention of race control and have the mechanical flag waved at them for that and try and get it ripped off. I'm surprised they didn't just do it in the pit stop. If they can get it done quickly under this safety car, they might get away with it. But yeah, that's certainly a less than ideal start for the number 11 crew in this race.
Yeah, that's really set them back quite a way. Obviously, Maxi Goetz, a very talented driver, but now essentially he's essentially handcuffed right now in terms of what he can do with his raw talent and ability when you're in a position like this where you have to all of a sudden fight your way all the way through the field. He's 32nd place right now. Truly remarkable. Obviously, we'll have to put a lot of work in, and they'll probably be hoping for a late safety car or something so they can condense the field again after the driver change period. We'll wait and see, obviously.
I'll tell you what, as well, because that car was going to be unhandicapped. In a sense, it is now very handicapped, but
an artificial handicap, basically.
Yes, quite. So there is Simon Riker, who obviously you don't score points outside the top 10 overall, so wouldn't be taking the championship lead if it were to finish like this, but obviously a long way to go. We've got driver change to happen. Let's take a look back at the start. So it's very even between Max Hesse and Tom Lebon, who decides to vault it around the outside of the Lauda curve. And does take the lead off the racetrack. So there we see Dexter Muller. Oh, got into the side of the spun Tsunami Racing Team Porsche. And presumably that's knocked something out of alignment. This is the view from the car collection Porsche of Maxim Kisilov. And there was contact there between one of the Baron cars and a Motor Park car. I'm not sure if that was the championship leading car. We can see this is how Lebon took the lead. He just plants his right foot when he goes off the circuit. Contact with an Oregon car, I think that was for Tsunami. Oh, there was a wheel off. There was a wheel. Was that off the Dexter Muller car or off of the Porsche? There you see Mark Sampson suddenly arriving at turn 6 with a face full of Michelin tyre smoke and rear-end Mercedes, and obviously got on the anchors at the wrong point, unbalanced the car and spun it onto the grass. Luckily, it's been dry for a while, so it's quite easy for him to gather the car up. That, of course, is a significant contender in the AM Championship, second in the standings.
I mean, from our perspective, just looking at it from the spectator view, you know, that smoke doesn't look too bad. But when all of a sudden you're thrusted into the cockpit and you've got it billowing out directly in front of you, for Mark Sampson, that's visually that's an issue.
I would be spooked by that. Yeah, especially you've got a slow-moving car right in front of you.
Well, you don't know what he's going to do.
Well, no, exactly.
You know, so at the end of the day, you can't really fault Mark Sampson in that case. But there's, you know, obviously Tom Emson just watching along as well. Obviously, they're trying to stay clued into what's going on out on circuit. At the moment for Tom Lebon, they are still currently sat in second place. Really, this has worked out brilliantly for the likes of East Talent Racing, because the very fact this has happened during Simon Riker's stint, this really does open the door of opportunity, an olive branch, you could say, for Christopher Haase for the second stint.
It does a little bit. They are taking 5 seconds of handicap. So if you've got a handicap. You don't really want a first stint safety car, but for 5 seconds, as kind of neither here nor there. We know that Chris Varsha is the quicker of the two, and so obviously he's got a big opportunity to try and close down the field. Of course, this is giving the quicker drivers at the front less time to build an advantage, because we're now at, well, we'll be at 62 minutes remaining probably when the race does eventually go green, which will be in about 2 corners' time.
It won't be long, folks. We are currently under yellow flag conditions, but we can confirm, as you can see at the bottom of your screen, safety car will be in this lap. So it's all going to come down to Max Hesse to control the pace before then we take to green once again. As you can just see, they're trying to get some late heat into the tyres, as we now take a really nice picturesque view coming down through Rint Corner before hitting Red Bull Mobile Curve. The pace starts to quicken as now Max Hesse applies a little bit of throttle, now a lot, as they burst down this straight in towards Niki Lauda curve, and it's pedal to the metal for the second time in this race now. And Leben was very sharp on the uptake as well, hot on the heels here this time of Max Hesse as they cruise through turn 1. Great start for Fabian Schiller, who maintains ahead of Karel Basch, who will be very quick in that Ferrari. Skipping over the curb there was Josh Rattigan as they make their way through the first corner. Really positive start also for the sister Greystone car, as now we see Rattigan swarming all over the back of Dominic Baumann as they head through up towards turn 3, and they're going to go side by side now, wheel to wheel. Rattigan on the move. Is he going to make it happen in the 720S? He almost certainly will. It's 5th place for Josh Rattigan.
Welcome to GT3 Racing, Josh Rattigan. That is his first overtake in this category, and he has just taken to this like a duck to water. Brilliant stuff. Side by side there between Carl Bennett and Jens Klingman, and that is the BMW factory driver making up a place there on our Paul Ricard race winner. That's a swap for 7th position with the Paulson Motorsport machine moving ahead.
Yeah, fantastic stuff there for Klingman, now up ahead and into that optimal position, obviously moving up into P7 now. Rattigan taking 5th, Baumann dropping down a spot, so the McLaren certainly showing it has a lot of pace. It packs a punch here for Greystone, and they'll be hoping the sister car can do the same now as we watch them come through the second half of this Sector 2 portion and now in towards Sector 3. They fly downhill, about to hit Red Bull Mobile Curve, that little extra bit of extension they can now take as well. You can just see vaguely the painted lines just on the inner of the new curbing as we now watch them head down through towards turn 1. Once again, 60 minutes to go. Hesse still 6/10 in front. Leben, though, showing no fear, no qualms, just reeling off the back of that incredible display at Budapest. They're carrying that momentum once more and looking to give yet greater grandeur to Elite Motorsport Ferrari as they fly uphill. They're now starting to disconnect away from Schiller further back. It's now 8/10 between Schiller's Mercedes and the Ferrari, and if anything, Basch could be a thorn in his side, but look at the pace on Josh Rattigan right now. He's tailing Karel Basch.
That is absolutely brilliant. Remember, that car is taking 10 seconds of handicap. The most heavily handicapped, though, is the Carl Bennett Tommaso Mosca car with 15 seconds. And, wow, that was Karel Basch absolutely blitzing by Fabian Schiller. And now Rattigan's going to go through as well, potentially. Has Schiller got a problem there, I wonder? The Ferrari has been clipped a little bit in terms of its turbo boost since Paul Ricard, but that was far too easy. And Schiller is really struggling for pace now, suddenly. I hope there's not dramas on that car as well. It'd be tough to spot.
We noted, earlier on how he was becoming disconnected away from Tom Leben, who was careering further and further up the road. And once again, a sheer display. And just look at this now. Defensive again, this time on Josh Rattigan. Is there something amiss with this Mercedes? Surely Rattigan knows he has to make the move, and he's just swarming every which way. He's looking for a better exit out of Red Bull Mobile Curve. He extended slightly there, Rattigan, so looking to find the leverage to fly up through towards turn 1. I'm sure he might choose to wait, leading up through towards turn 3. Looks to the inside, obviously believing that Schiller might cover off the outside line as they come through towards turn 1. Are they going to swap again? Surely Rattigan is going to have the pace now to get past as he looks to fly and move alongside. Look at the squeeze there from Fabian Schiller as they still go wheel to wheel. Schiller not going down without a fight, despite this certain run of slowness this Mercedes seems to be suffering from. He's got the sister Mercedes behind, this time from SPS, as up the inside, Rattigan goes through goes Baumann. There's got to be a problem, Chris.
Yeah, Schiller lost 2 seconds on that previous lap. So clearly something wrong with that Get Speed Mercedes. Ratigan goes through. Dominic Baumann is about to do so as well, with Jens Klingmann in the BMW, trying to take opportunity as well. Schiller's so late on the brakes. He's clearly not got any problems on the left foot. He's got problems on the left-hand side of his tyres, though, with gravel and dirt, and that has opened up the floodgates for Fabian Schiller to be absolutely mullered by the pack now.
The early promise that we saw, starting as high as they were, they managed to raise the stakes. It was a great start for Schiller. They don't have a handicap to serve, but this will affect them. Now they're being artificially handicapped at this point. Obviously, they must be. We're not quite sure, though. Here comes Simon Riker. They're going to try and move up the order once again. He's a man on a mission, obviously currently trying to usurp the likes of Phil Barron, who sits in front of him at the moment in P10. As we now take a look again, this was the move, and obviously up the inside from Dominic Baumann at Slosh Gold, the two Mercedes came together, but eventually squeezed onto the gravel.
I think there was a touch.
Yeah.
That's
the
definitely a touch between the left rear of Baumann and the front right of Schiller, which assisted him towards the gravel trap.
Yeah, obviously playing a part in why eventually Schiller found his way into the rough stuff. And as they come uphill, and in the 95, it's Jens Klingmann now looking to close on Dominic Baumann, fresh after the move on Fabian Schiller. Schiller's, though, still on the back of Carl Bennett, who's also gone past. And further back, we also have Berman and Riker, who are currently manacled together. Fresh from Riker overtaking Phil Barron. Did manage to get the move done here for the Easterland team, so they're now inside the top 10, which I'm sure will put a big smile on the face of Christopher Haase, giving him yet even more an opportunity to make something happen in the second stint when it unfolds later on. Rugalo, highest AM, also down in 12th place as well, looking to make it AM win number 6, Chris.
It certainly is. Actually, sorry, it does have the 6.
Well, six in a row,
It's five in a row they have. Yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
I gave you some false info earlier on that one. But yes, hoping to make it 6 in a row, which is a truly extraordinary run of form in the AM Championship. As we see Baumann there with Klingmann for close company. Cole Bennett has gone through on Schiller there. So Schiller, from running in 3rd position 2 laps ago, is now down in 8th. And potentially Jelmer Berman is the next one to round him up in that rather striking number 13 Motorpark Mercedes, which has a new lineup. No Robert Visoyu and Nick Cruton for the foreseeable future. It's Jelmer Berman with bronze driver Riemann Voss. So it's now a Pro-Am car. You see that white and red Mercedes in the back of shot. There's Ratigan, absolutely flying, coming from the GT4 European Series. Of course, reunited with his co-champion in that championship last year, Tom Lebon, out there on track, running 2nd and 4th at the moment. Of course, rivals now with Ratigan moving from the elite squad in GT4 to join Greystone here. He will see out that championship with Mackenzie Cresswell, but we're very much hoping Josh will find a home here in GT Open next year with the Greystone team, who have expanded their outfit to 2 pro efforts for the remainder of this season.
It definitely bodes well for the future, the International GT Open, that's for sure, with the way things are certainly ramping up for next season. A lot of, obviously, media interest as of late as well in terms of where we're broadcasting from, wherever you're watching in the world. Of course, we do appreciate you joining us as we now watch as...
Whoa!
Bit of a dusty moment indeed for Marcus Pavrud in the Santa Lock.
And that ripped some bodywork off as well. Such was the roughness of his trip through the gravel.
Yeah, I also want to give a huge hat tip to Max Gertz, who's already in 25th place as well. Remember, he was in 32nd at the end of the safety car, so has managed to jump Lewis Michael Dorbecker. That is a pro-on-pro battle. Marcelo Ramirez down in 31st as well.
Yeah, Lewis Michael Dorbecker back as a pro runner. Amory Bondwell is not running for the remainder of the season. They want to give Lewis Michael Dorbecker the maximum amount of track time they can, because he's been struggling so much this season. So at the previous round, it was downgraded to Pro-Am, but now with Amory not running, he has to be graded a pro again, because you can't run solo in Pro-Am. Right, Zach Meakin now making the move on the slightly damaged Santalock Audi of Marcus Pavrud to the outside at turn number 3, and the Audi shuts the door very firmly on the exit of the corner. That could open up the door for the chasing Mercedes. This is why he's got some damage. Look at that, tears the rear bodywork off straight away. That was incredible to see that. So Steve Yance was the Mercedes behind, who's potentially taking advantage of Meakin's poor run onto the straight. But it is Max Hesse, 2.3 to the good now on Tom Lebon.
Yeah.
And this car is also unhandicapped because it's not a new entry. They were there in Budapest and didn't pick up any handicap there. So this has got to be a very strong contender for the Pro-Am win today.
Yeah, no question. Obviously, I was just looking as well. There was a hard-charging Oregon car also on the move up towards turn 3. We'll be watching that battle unfold with the Santalot car of Marcus Pavarud earlier on. Important to note, Zach Meekin has actually dropped a couple of places again. He's now down in 15th. So the effort he took to passing Pavarud, obviously now he's below Steve Jans. So obviously an issue there for Zach Meekin. So now we watch as they now begin the next lap here with 52 minutes and 30 to go. Hesse ahead of Leben by 2.6 seconds. Carol Bash making up a 2-part Ferrari contingent inside the top 3 at the moment. Of course, he'll be later swapping out for Marcin Jedlinski when the time comes.
And if you weren't with us in qualifying, that car has been an Audi for most of the season. So it started off as a Ferrari, they went back to the Audi, and then testing here last week, Marcin was happier in the Ferrari, and so they're back in the 296 for this weekend.
And now finally Olymp match cars.
Yes, they do. And what I like about it as well, they've got the inverse livery.
Correct.
They mirror each
thought
other.
of us, didn't they?
Yeah, exactly. And I was really annoyed when they went back to the Audi because it ruined that dynamic.
Yeah, no, they do stand out. I've got to say, one of the sharpest liveries on the grid. I have to say, it has been for the last many years, or the 4 years, at least since I've been broadcasting the International GT Open, that's for sure. And
they should be running the Evo kit for the Ferrari 296 next year as well. I know there's an awful lot of talk about how many Temerarios are actually going to be built by Lamborghini. And while it seems like they may not make it to us in the immediate of 2026, but certainly the Evo kit for the Ferrari 296, the new Porsche, should be coming our way as well. Tom Leben has come into pit lane, George.
That's it.
Tom Leben,
The change hasn't even started.
outside the driver change window.
9 minutes
so
until the change.
that is a problem for the elite Ferrari that was in second place. I can't believe it.
Well, they say, are there ghosts in the machine? Well, we think Fabian Schiller had one. Now it seems the case that Tom Leben has one, and he's just literally left the pits. A very quick stop. So I'm not sure what that's about, Chris. Whether he's made a miscalculation, whether he was... Maybe there was an instruction issued. I'm not quite sure. It didn't seem to be a problem, not from what we saw outside of the car.
It's a bit too far down the pit lane for us to see exactly what happened in that pit stop. But you're right, he wasn't stationary for very long at all. That is extraordinary. So problems down at Elite. That now means that the top pro car is Josh Rattigan, who's now running third overall.
I wonder whether that was a communication issue.
Well, potentially, because they do have radio inside these cars, but if the radio's broken, then of course you then rely on the pit boards and the where the checkered flag is waved as well. They do put out a sign saying pit's open.
Yeah.
So I'm truly astonished as to how that could have happened. A little nudge here between Steve Jans and Marcus Pavarud, slightly further back down the order. That is 12th and 13th overall. And then, this is Zach Meekin squabbling with Artem Petrov. That's actually Petrov getting around the outside at turn number 7. That is ballsy from Artem Petrov for 14th place. Great stuff. And so, right, let's take stock, George, because this is a bizarre scenario we're seeing. We've had a weird problem for Schiller where he seems to have stabilized in terms of pace now. He's back into the 1 minute 30s, so that gets me Mercedes suddenly looking much healthier. Max Hesse leads now by 5.6 to Carol Bash, who's got Josh Rattigan all over him. There's Tom Leben trying to make his way back through the pack. So where has he emerged? He has come out in 25th place. Well, made that 24th now as he's rounded up Lewis Michael Dorbecker. But I've got no theories to that at all. It's astonishing. All right, James Kell coming up against the number 19, Oregon.
And the 75 ISR as well.
Took both of them.
Took a very smart move, I have to say, from the combination of Salicata Bellotto and goodness
that's
me.
Kell now in the gravel.
Well, I mean, he's been right in the thick of the action as James Kell on this opening stint. It's again another really stiff race for them here this time. Credit also has to go to Riker, now inside the top 10, well and truly 9th place now, and 6 tenths away from Berman. who's currently sat in P8, as we now take a look at the replay of James Cowell's moment. Just ran wide of the apex slightly, coming through Slosh Gold.
Oh dear.
Just treaded too far into the gravel. At least half the car was in the gravel anyway, and that allows the Oregon team Lamborghini to move on through.
So, 6.1 now the lead for Max Hesse. The driver change window will open in 6 minutes' time. You would expect the pros in these Pro-Am cars to stretch it as long as possible. So Hesse, Bash, Baumann, Berman, they'll all stay out as long as they can. And that's Antal Zigo getting ready to climb aboard, and that's a change for second place with Josh Ratican moving through past Carol Bash and into a further podium spot on the inside at turn number 3. Carol Bash is going to fight this one back with a bit of slipstream and twin turbo V6 power. Both of these cars twin turbocharged, but it's the slightly bigger V8 in the McLaren against the slightly smaller V6 in the Ferrari, and it's Old Grunt that manages to find its way through. Lovely move from Ratican, who's having a heck of a debut in this category.
I was just about to say he's having an astonishing debut. Absolutely brilliant from Josh Ratican, of course fresh from the GT4 scene, where he was GT4 European champion with Tom Leben, and of course now great friends have become bitter enemies out on track this time, and unfortunately we're not going to get the Leben Dynamic Riker now down into 11th place. We haven't even...
There was a yellow flag at turn 5 just now when he's tumbling down the order, so I wonder if that was for him. So potential dramas for both of our championship contenders here. Of course, it was such a miserable Paul Ricard with opening lap contact for Riker, and then Haase getting speared into the wall later in that race as well. A pretty miserable weekend for them, and potentially there's another drama here with Riker losing 5 or 6 positions on that last lap, and a brief yellow up at turn 5, which may well have been for the Austrian.
Yeah, well, I can't imagine it was necessarily a spin of sorts, because it looks like he's remained ahead. The deltas are still, you know, relatively close.
Trip through the grass,
gravel,
yeah,
likely a gravel visit, I would imagine. Obviously, still 3/10 ahead of Meekin at the moment in the Optimum Motorsport McLaren, so still retains P14. Hasn't lost huge amounts, obviously, considering, but it does put them on the back foot for the second stint for now. Obviously, remember, he was 9th place. Max Gertz up to 20th as well, and on the climb. Remember, after they had to come in to get that wheel changed, they were down in 32nd place. They've moved up 12 places, Chris, since that incident.
Yeah, he's doing well. He's clearing the AM traffic very nicely, but he's 30 seconds behind the race leader. I can't see them getting into the points from here, sadly, George, unless we have a very late safety car and the Vente can absolutely hurl it at the field in the closing stages.
It's not out of the question.
Anything's possible. We've seen some crazy stuff here at the Red Bull Ring over in recent years. This is Carl Bennett there in 51. They'll be hoping for a late safety car as well, with Tommaso Mosca, who is the quicker of the two, taking over after serving 15 seconds of handicap in the driver change. That's, of course, from the win last time out. And the second place they also had there as well that weekend. It's been a great run of form for another pairing that is growing in its experience. Tommaso Mosca in his 3rd year of GT3 racing, coming from Italian GT, but Carl Bennett in his 1st year of GT3 competition. There is Schiller. It doesn't look like he's still very much on it in terms of his pace, even though he's lapping in the 1:30. He's not exactly hounding Carl Bennett, and he's got Jelmer Berman in the Motorpark Mercedes hounding him very much indeed. You can see it's striking looking thing for this new pairing that's come to replace Nicholas Cruton and Robert Visoyu.
It's almost like when you look at the rear of that car, it's like someone's taken a spray can to it and pretty much drawn all over it. It's this really striking livery. Then you've got the red on the front as well, the combination.
You've got the most striking and visible car in the field chasing the most invisible car in the field.
Absolutely.
I'm here all weekend, folks.
Fastest lap for Tom Leben. Back on track. Obviously, no issues as of now. Very curious to see what that pit stop was all about for Tom Leben. But continuing around the track, of course, he has lost a fleet of places since obviously coming in and having to observe whatever issue it was that he was suffering from. But now looking to make his way through. And as now we watch as Josh Ratican makes his way out of turn 1 and through up towards turns 2. Now about to come up to the sister Olymp Ferrari that will be lapped very shortly. And that, of course, being driven by Stanislav Jedlinski down in 32nd place. We'll be handing over to Christian Korzanowski when the driver change window erupts. But Rattigan having a really stunning debut appearance here at Austria in the International GT Open. 7.2 seconds behind Max Hesse. If we take a look at the last laps, Rattigan actually lapping quicker than Hesse at the moment, albeit by only just under 1.5 tenths.
So this is slightly further down. Steve Jans in 12th position, trying to chase Marcus Pavrud. That is for Pro-Am position, 6th in that class. But remember, Pavrud is the pro. Steve Jans, the bronze driver, the car that he shares with Aaron Walker, but a very shiny bronze in this field. It's then Petrov and Riker and Meekin. Libor Milota also in that queue there as well for ISR. And so that is the car trying to benefit from the misfortune of Motor Park in the earlier stages of this race, but some sort of drama. We didn't see what happened to Riker when he lost those positions and the yellow flags came out, but it's not going their way so much at the moment on home soil for East Talent.
Yeah, which is a bit of a shame, certainly considering how they fared in free practice in FP1, where they were, of course, the fastest lineup, really, as now we see the blue flags being waved for Stanislav Jedlinski. Contact in the rear, and it's Carl Bennett who tapped the rear of Stanislav Jedlinski there, and Jedlinski's round at the moment. Of course, he was a lapped car and got collected here, coming through Niki Lauda curb.
Yeah, I think slight misjudgment there from Carl Bennett, potentially. So the driver change window is now open. Perfect timing, and James Kell is the first one to get into the box. It'll be Dean McDonald who takes over that car. We've got the number 65 in from Motor Park as well, so Heiko Neumann handing into Lucas Dunner. They were our narrow victors in Paul Ricard last time out. A very dramatic finish in the Pro-Am category, where the top two were side by side across the line and passing Dexter Muller on the start and finish straight as well. We're going to see the contact again, and unfortunately Bennett just realizing a little bit too late that he was closing in on Stanislav just a little bit too quickly, nudging into the back of him.
Strong evasive action as well from Fabian Schiller to avoid direct contact as well. It could have led to even worse issues for them at this point.
And there's still yellow flags there at turn one, so I think Jedlinski's probably stationary out there at the moment. I'm sure many of these early stoppers will be hoping for a safety car or full course yellow like we saw in Hockenheim. I know race control don't really like to interfere with the driver change window period. Who else we see in the pits there? The number 82 of Getsby, Ralph Aaron getting aboard that car. Stuart White, the South African, taking over from Khalil Letlarke in the Dragon Racing Run car. Oh, that very nearly looked like contact in the pit lane for Carl Bennett. So Tommaso Mosca now taking over. Remember, this car is taking 15 seconds of handicap. Mirko Bortolotti about to do his first racing laps in the International GT Open. The DTM champion, Spa 24-hour winner from this year, as he takes over the number 63 from Oregon.
Yeah, jumping into the car now with the Oregon Team Lamborghini, led by Jerry Canavicio and Pier Giorgio Testa. Christopher Haase now about to jump in place of Simon Riker, getting that driver change in nice and early, right at the top of the change window, just to give Haase every opportunity to make as many places as possible. And I can tell you, the hair is going to be quick here at Easterlent's home race, and we'll wait and see how they get on. Of course, they do have to serve the penalty or the handicap that they have obviously pre-issued against their name, as now we watch as the 500 of Max Hesse now makes his way down through towards turn one, and you can bet your bottom dollar he's going to do a strong majority of this first stint.
Absolutely, continuing to stretch his legs out there. 8.5 seconds clear of Josh Rattigan now, and running very nicely in that Racing Trevor run at BMW. He and Antal racing over in Eastern Europe throughout this year. Antal had such a great time with us in Budapest, decided to join us for a few more rounds, so should be with us in Barcelona, and also for the GT Open 500 at Monza, the double points finale, where no doubt we'll settle the championship there. Quite a flurry going up the hill here. So this looks like Dean McDonald about to take advantage over Tommaso Mosca. That tells you how much time he's lost there, because he's back in with Haase and McDonald there, who are a little bit further down. Mikey Porter about to take over the number 4 Optimum McLaren. We've got 5 McLarens on the grid for this weekend, with all the new arrivals from Track Focused and from Greystone as well. Enzo Garalsi taking over now, the number 19, and doing his first GT3 racing laps as well. The Super Trofeo Championship leader with the Oregon team.
Yeah, Garassi about to hop out now. Obviously, after the initial run was laid in place by Robin Rogalski, we now watch as Max Hesse comes through the final 2 corners again, through Jochenrink corner and again through Red Bull Mobile. Still 10 minutes left until the change comes to an end, so you would imagine that he will get, at least at this point, probably another 4 laps under his belt before then coming into the pits. And see, first and foremost, through turn 1, he will go on this renewed lap. He's consumed already 20 laps already. Josh Rattican about to come across the line to bring an end to his 19th lap to enter onto the 20th lap. 9.2 seconds now. Hesse continues to climb the mountain. And Bash down in 3rd as well, who will also do a strong majority, much like Dominic Baumann and, of course, Hesse. Klingman in 5th has obviously not come in just yet. Neither is Fabian Schiller. Obviously, Bartone will be stepping into that car, but 3.1 seconds down on Klingman as it stands. As now in comes the current contender, obviously in Pro-Am, the number 6, belonging to, well, Aaron Walker will be taking the seat in place of Steve Jans as they look to continue onwards.
Yeah, championship leader in Pro-Am. And of course, they started with their bronze driver, whereas their nearest title rival started with their pro. That's Dominic Baumann in the number 20 that runs in 4th position overall. It's 3 wins versus 2 for the Getspeed pairing, although it's effectively 4 because they won the double points Spa 500. So, but still only 2 points between them going into this weekend. Pro-Am fight has been absolutely wonderful once again this year. And this is one of those contenders for this weekend as well. In fact, 3 of the cars in the top 4 at the moment running for Pro-Am honours, but yet to hand over to their bronze drivers.
I mean, Aaron Walker's had quite a disciplined summer break, to be honest. I was chatting to him on Friday, and he was alluding to me that he'd been helping his father and the family business, obviously with the roof trusses, making roof trusses through August. So he'd be hoping to raise the roof this time here in Red Bull Ring instead of the Pro-Am class. We'll wait and see if that is possible, obviously, as we now see the Motorpark car moving past the Team Oregon Lamborghini. That, of course, being the 13, now trying to climb its way through. That's Jelmer Berman. Obviously, that's against a car. That's a lapped, essentially a lapped situation there.
Yeah, you can quite easily lose a lap here because it's one of the shorter circuits we visit. It's only a 90-second lap and about 4.3 kilometres. So, but because of how long the pit stops take with the tyre change, 2 people at a time, and a driver change, and a splash of Panther racing fuel there as well, as Aaron Walker was had a wheel on the grass there coming down the back straight, looking at the back of Dean McDonald.
A lap can go by very quickly, especially around a circuit like this we were alluding to. Yeah, Chris, obviously 2.688 miles, one of the shortest you're going to see on the calendar. Lewis Michael Dorbecker in, of course, doing the solo run, though. There'll be no driver swap here for this one. Obviously, be looking to rejoin back out onto the circuit as soon as possible, just going through the usual tyre change, serving the necessary minimal time in the stop, and also with a splash of fuel as well.
Yeah, so it might be a good prudent to go through who's got handicap left. So Steve Jans, we saw, just took 5 seconds. Jelmer Berman's going to have to take 5 seconds as well. And so will Dominic Baumann when he hands over to Pierre Berg. The Greystone number 27 we've mentioned, that's 10 seconds. Car Collection having to take 5 seconds as well for their new lineup. We mentioned 15 seconds for the 51 AF Corsa car. Both the the 63 Oregon taking 10 seconds, as did the Lucas Dana Heiko Neumann Motorpark Mercedes. Paulson having to take 10 seconds as well as Garage 59, and the Baron number 91 car taking 5 seconds as well. Yeah. We get through all that?
Yeah, we got that, I think, as we now watch the 51 of Tommaso Mosca, now also looking to try and get himself past our current race leader, Max Hesse. Obviously, this is out of position right now. Obviously, the 95, sorry, got blasted by the liveries. This is the Paulson car, incidentally. This is the other BMW that we're witnessing out on track at the moment. But the 51 right now making its way through. A little look up the inside from Tommaso Mosca as he tries to just ferry his way through. Obviously, he's got bigger fish to fry. This is not necessarily an on-track, in-position battle. Again, another look down the inside with the Paulson car, refusing to give in at all at the moment, Chris.
So this is, an unlapping situation. Just looking, the top car that's done its driver change is actually Eduardo Bacci in the 92. So it's a Pro-Am car that kind of has the lead in that sense. And then it's Felipe Salicada for ISR. Then this Mosca and Haase battle. But Tommaso Mosca is now under investigation. I'll tell you why. That is for the contact with Stanislav Jedlinski. That was actually when Carl Bennett was at the wheel of the 51. In comes the second place car. Josh Rattigan has done a stellar job in the first half of this race, and now he is handing over to Jaden Kelly, another GT3 debutant coming from the McLaren European Series.
Yeah, absolutely right. Once again, though, still frustrated here, Tommaso Mosca, trying to find clairvoyance to move through. You can see behind us all Christopher Haase, part of this little shake-up at the moment. Obviously, we got cars strewn across this order, but Haase and Mosca is an on-track fight. So we are watching this unfold right in front of us here. Haase right on the rear.
And McDonald.
And McDonald is there too. So we've got quite the foray. Bit of a train here as they dive down in towards Slosh Gold at the inside. Mosca just looking for that clear air. He's found it. Haase also looking to do the same. Doesn't want to leave the rear of that Ferrari. They can make a little bit of contact now as we come through in towards the double left-handers through Roche and Verth curve, and still trying to deny Haase here as the Paulson car as they come through the sequence of double lefts. Again, though, the BMW maintaining ahead of the Audi, refusing to let him past.
How Haase managed to maintain momentum with the wheel and the gravel, I'll have no idea. So McDonald trying to take advantage of that. That is for position. I got to say, that was some real heads-up driving from Jens Klingman there. You saw the lunge from Tommaso Mosca coming a mile away and waited an eternity to turn into the corner. So a very wise head on Jens Klingman there. And still these cars that are a lap down because they've done their driver swap, trying to get around this Paulson BMW.
Well, I mean, Klingman's got his own race to run. He's not concerned whether they're faster or not. All he's concerned about is running his own race. He's 19.9 at the moment behind Max Hesse as it stands, or should I say behind Dominic Baumann at the moment. Or no, I do apologise, in front of Haase. Now we see again Haase having a look around the outside, coming through towards turn 3, escaping now. In comes as well the 26. So this is Michael Blanchimont stepping in for Marcus Pavarud, and they will obviously serve the 75 as standard.
And Vente Reves also getting aboard the championship leading Motorpark Mercedes. We saw that come in with a puncture on the opening lap. Also in is the elite car that's already been through pit lane with Tom Lebon. It's Tom Emson now taking over that car. I'm still absolutely perplexed as to what happened to that car.
Yeah, it's really strange. In comes as well the elite Ferrari, of course, Tom Emson and Lebon now making their swaps and serving the 75 as standard. And the 188 also in the pits. Marco Polcini now in for Mark Sampson. Bit strange not seeing Marco in a red Ferrari.
Isn't it just? I'm still trying to get used to it. Really bizarre. In comes the race leader, Antal Zigo, the bronze driver, getting ready to climb aboard. Max Hesse out. Came in with a rather healthy margin over Carol Bash, it was, in the end. There is still 2 minutes left on the clock, so these other drivers, they can squeeze one more lap out of this if they want to, but Fabian Schiller and Jelmer Berman have also come into pit lane, so it'll be Anthony Bartone and Riemann Voss taking over those cars respectively. And that is the top two in the championship. Absolutely level pegging coming towards turn 2. The Motorpark Mercedes and the East Talent Audi side by side going up towards turn number 2. They've come out in the exact same bit of the racetrack. Astonishing.
Yeah, they definitely are. They're going to be tying up now through the course of this. Anthony Bartone and Fabian Schiller now going through their swap. Riemann Voss and Jelmer Berman swapping as well, as now we see them go wheel to wheel here this time. This is, of course, the car of Dominic Baumann, currently sat second in the overall. And there's, of course, Michael Blanchimont. Through goes the ISR Audi as well. So we've got a proper mishmash of cars here through this order, this rostrum. Also here, of course, Tommaso Mosca just trying to move his way through as well at the same time, and does manage to mitigate the cars that are around him. Salicada and Mosca obviously now swapping places. Blanchimont further down as well. Actually, no, Salicada's going to be the next one for Mosca. Of course, we've got the 2 Audis, one of them for Sansalok. The other one is ISR as they come through the middle sector. But there comes the BMW back out onto the track as we now watch them come down through the final corner. It's now Carol Bash on track in front, but is still yet to take his stop until now.
Yeah, they'll have to come in this lap. So Baumann, we saw peeling into pit lane there as well. Jens Klingmann will have to do the same. It's the first box for Olymp, right by the Parc Fermé area. So here is Dominic Baumann handing over to Valentin Pierberg, another very shiny bronze driver, and Christian Poulsen taking over for his eponymous team. But we did see Antal Zigo out in the net lead. Anthony Bartone up in second place, though. We'll get confirmation of that when the likes of Jedlinski and Pierberg come out onto the racetrack. He's 14 seconds behind Zigo, and then Jaden Kelly 1.6 seconds behind them. So that's the battle for the podium. So the 27 car in all this, the Jaden Kelly car, such an unknown quantity in all of this. So it's brilliant. But there's our net race leader.
I mean, I have to say, Radtigan put in a really blistering first stint. Kelly has actually closed down by 2/10 now already. It's just been recorded as Bacci moves past Voss for the essentially Pro-Am P2, if we consider the net situation. Yeah. Obviously now Voss down in P8 as now we see the Ferrari looking to rejoin. That is Marcin Jedlinski.
So Marcin should come out in second place. With Bacci moving past Voss, that's a Pro going past an Am. So Bacci should be moving forward in this one. Out comes Marcin Jedlinski into what should be second place. Yep, no sign of the Bartone car, and that's not just because it's camoed. There it is, right, so he's gone past Valentin Pierberg there, and there is Jaden Kelly. So this is the battle for third, fourth, and fifth out on the racetrack, and Jaden Kelly taking straight advantage of that, passing the Valentin Pierberg car, moving himself up into fourth position, keeping his eyes locked on his pro-class rival. These two should, in theory, be making their way past Marcin Jedlinski and Antal Zigo because they're the bronze drivers in those Pro-Am cars. So I can't believe this, George, but Jaden Kelly and Josh Rattigan are actually, they're well in with a shot at a victory on their debut.
It's ultimately possible, and it could be. I mean, based on what we saw, from Rattigan, it was a phenomenal start, and I must say, Jaden Kelly putting the groundwork in his second stint to follow on from what his teammate achieved already. We have got Pierberg down into fifth now, Bacci, of course, further down. Next on their list, it is Marcin Jedlinski. 1.7 seconds now between Bartone and Jedlinski. That was beyond 2 seconds before. They are finding the time, but crucially enough, Jaden Kelly might even catch Bartone before Bartone even reaches Marcin Jedlinski as they come around the final corner now through Red Bull Mobile. It could all light up on the run out of Niki Lauda curve, on the run up towards turn 3. It's such a steep incline for these drivers to take. Just who is going to handle it best as they come through the first corner once again. 25 minutes and 30 to go, and this will surely unfold as now we watch them look to make the climb uphill. There is, of course, Marcin Jedlinski, 1.3 ahead of Bartone right now. This is a massive cluster we're witnessing here. This is, of course, Levente Revesh also meeting the Santalot car, I believe, as well. And further back, in comes Tom Emson, Chris.
Yeah, so where is this down in the order? Something went flying there. So this is down in about, 12th, 13th, 14th.
My goodness.
All this, so side by side with Aaron Walker and Dean McDonald there, and Mikey Porter showing his nose in the Optimum McLaren as well. It's Emson on the inside in the Elite Ferrari. Somehow they're all in the same order as when they went into the corner. Didn't expect that to happen. Porter with a couple of wheels on the grass there on the left-hand side of the circuit, trying to get around the sister McLaren. Optimum versus Greystone. It's Porter on the outside. It's the He driver with hopes of being a McLaren factory driver against the current McLaren factory driver, and it's the youngster who gets pushed into the gravel. But let's keep our eyes on Bartone and Jaden Kelly. This could end up being the move that settles the race win, especially once they get around the two Pro-Am cars in front of them. So through these final couple of corners, 24 minutes left on the clock. Anthony Bartone chasing his first victory of the season in a car that we assume is still healthy after the problems that Fabi Schiller had earlier on. A very bizarre moment where he lost a handful of places, and Jaden Kelly in his first race in this car, in any GT3 car. So we'll see that moment again for Porter in the Optimum McLaren, just getting squeezed out there by Dean McDonald, which I'm sure Porter did not appreciate. He lost out to Michael Blanchimont and Mirko Bortolotti as a result of that. A nice bit of rally crossing there as he made his way back out onto the circuit. Right, those two pro cars, they've gone around Marcin Jedlinski, so they're now up into second place. And Bartone having to go a little bit defensive. This is Jaden Kelly looking towards the inside. Well, nothing doing when they eventually got there, but Bartone's gone too deep into the corner. Jaden Kelly, this is an opportunity for him to try and grab second place overall in a move that could determine the race win here. Bartone managed to gather it up and hang on to the place. Very nicely done there from the American, defending from the 18-year-old Australian who only started racing in 2021. 4 years ago, he got into a competitive go-kart for the first time, and only in his second year of car racing, I believe, as well. This is extraordinary stuff from Jaden Kelly and Josh Rattican as well. Mega first stint by him. I'm absolutely blown away. Absolutely nose to tail between these two cars as they come round the final corner, tick off another lap, both utilising what they're allowed to utilise on the outside of the circuit through the final corner there. It's 22 minutes left to go. Remember, they can't afford to squabble too much, though, because they're 11 seconds behind Antal Zigo, who's lapping quite competitively at the moment. He's only about 8/10 slower than these two cars.
Yeah, well, now they're making the run uphill. Seeing a fantastic visit here for Jaden Kelly to kick things off, and obviously the next mission passing Bartone. They've already surpassed Jedlinski now. He's down in fourth. Jedlinski obviously looking to try, and his fight would be with Antal Zigo, but quite a gap between them right now. At the best, at the moment, he's got to try and keep Valentin Pierberg behind over that Pro-Am P2. As now we watch them head down in towards the heavy braking zone at Sloshgold. Jaden Kelly remaining in behind. You can have a look at the distance meterage there. Minute between them, folks, really, on the face of it. As now we watch as our Pro-Am P2 battle starts to unfold as well at the same time. We have got the essentially race second place battle between these two, because remember, pros don't have their own category. Of course, remember, they are the overall result, and the other drivers obviously around them. The Pro-Ams, for example, have got a Pro-Am lead, Pro-Am P2 fight.
And that Pro-Am second place battle was about to have 3 cars in it, because Eduardo Bacci is the fastest car on the track at the moment, or certainly one of, lapping in the 1:30 30s, and he is only 2 seconds behind Pierberg and Jedlinski, and only 15 behind the Pro-Am leader or overall race leader Antal Zigo. So that car, and obviously Bacci is the pro in that lineup, in the car that was started by Phil Barron, filling in this weekend, don't forget, for Masir Jaburian. So that is certainly a very, very strong contender for Pro-Am victory on home soil for Barron Motorsport.
Certainly is. Jaden now looking to make his way through. Jaden Kelly on the tail this time of Anthony Bartone once again. It's getting closer all the time between them.
Wide.
The exit could be crucial here coming out of turn 3, and indeed the slipstream is on offer. This could be the time. Philippe Salicado moving into 8th as well, ahead of Paulson now, but this is the battle we want to see. Bartone and Kelly going toe-to-toe. Bartone breaking a little bit later, heading down into Sloshgold, but will he cut it too deep? Because here comes Jaden Kelly at the inside, a little bit of contact. They rub together on the run down through towards Rochenberg curve. Bartone looking to leave at least half of his car at the inside to try and defend the place, but Kelly now around the outside. They make contact again as they come through Rochenberg. Bartone somehow fighting back, retains second place here in the classification. Stern defence there from the man in camo.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. But Jaden Kelly's not finished yet. He's got to run. Oh, a big dart to the inside on the ring curve. That's very brave. Yeah, that wasn't going to pay off, I don't think, and he's sliding the car a little bit through there. Calm down, Jaden. Keep it calm. The opportunity will come. You've got 20 more minutes. Remember, don't fight too hard. They need to work together to actually catch Antal Zigo here as well. But that was some defence from Anthony Bartone, though, wasn't it?
And much like the livery, I don't think he saw it coming.
Hey,
so you now watch him come through out of turn 1.
We're going to have fun with this all weekend, aren't we?
Absolutely. As we now watch them flash the lights from Jaden Kelly, just sending yet another warning to Anthony Bartone, saying, I'm not done yet. You can keep defending as much as you like, but I'm going to keep knocking on that door. And that's exactly what Jaden Kelly's doing. The escape coming out of turn 3 on the run down through towards turn 4. Take 2, everybody, here with 19 minutes to go. And this time Kelly might make this one clinical. They're going to go side by side, are they? No, again. Bartone going a little bit later on the brakes, but will he run it deep again, offering the olive branch to Jaden Kelly to fight back? Not this time. Bartone with a bit of defensive fight about it.
Now, Bartone's very good on the brakes into that downhill braking zone at turn 4. He's been quite consistently quicker than Jaden Kelly through that specific corner. Kelly seems to have some speed elsewhere on the circuit, particularly around here. Look how much he's closed up again. It's about a car length and a half between them. See, look at that last lap. They only took 2/10 out of Zigo. We could have a Pro-Am race winner here overall, and also a first overall win for BMW since, what, 2018 in this championship?
I also want to say as well, Chris, Christopher Haase is on a rampant rise. P8 now, he's just overtaken Philippe Salacada now for on-track 8th place. 4.3 behind Mosca. Mosca 1 second behind Bacci. The pros are starting to convene now.
And in terms of the championship as well, Levente Rivest not currently in the points either. So Haase and Riker, they would close up to Rivest. They wouldn't take the lead in the championship, but they would certainly close up after what has been a drama-filled day for both of our championship contenders. That's the change for second place in Pro-Am. Eduardo Bacci has gone past Valentin Pierberg, as we can see this staunch defence again. So that was the mistake there from Bartone, ran wide. That opened up the door for Jaden Kelly. They nudge panels, they rub panels again. A little swapper there for Kelly that he had to gather up. That's what allowed Bartone to get back down the inside. Fantastic racing in very unconventional parts of the racetrack. Once again, oh, look at that. See that little nod down for Jaden Kelly, like, come on, let's get on with it.
A mark of respect between two drivers, obviously at the same time. They've been dicing it out now for quite some time of these two out on track, really giving us a show. 8.4 seconds between Bartone and Zygo at the moment, who currently leads the race, obviously in the Pro-Am class. He's actually doing a great job, obviously, with all the battling that Bartone and Kelly are actually doing. It's actually helping Antal Zygo's case.
So Antal, I believe, has raced there because the European Championship, the ESET, they do come here. So I'm sure he's familiar with this circuit, which is probably helping him a little bit because he has got good speed out there. We should, definitely keep our eye on Eduardo Bacci as well, because he's now only 11 seconds from the race lead, and I'm sure he'll have Marcin Jedlinski soon enough for second in class, and then maybe we'll even disturb these two pro cars.
Well, I mean, Tommaso Mosca's just overtaken Pierberg as well in this effort to try and move up the order. So if you look
Mosca's
at it,
right there.
Yeah, if you look at it on paper at the moment, you're talking he's a second back from Jedlinski, might make that 3.6 behind these two that we're currently watching out on track as well. There is Mosca right now, actually on the tail this time of Eduard Bacci. So this now becomes quite an interesting dynamic here with 15 minutes and 55 to go. Bacci now right on the tail of Jedlinski. This is a battle for Pro-Am P2. A look to the inside from Bacci, who looks to switch late. Jedlinski goes stern defensively, but just look at this as well. Mosca's not going to hesitate. If he can find an avenue to get past, he knows he needs to because he's running out of time, and he has a potential chance of closing in on a higher-end podium position should he join the Bartone-Kelly fight.
Great battle. 3 Ferrari 296 from Olim, Baron, and AF Corsa. Great fight here. Two of them fighting for class position. Mosca trying to gain overall position as well there. Maybe grab himself an outright podium there if things work out towards the end of the race. He's trying to make the move there on Eduardo Bacci. There's two pro class drivers, but it's the gold rated Mosca trying to find his way through in that red number 51 car. Marcin Jedlinski doing a great job of hanging on to second position in class as it stands. And well, Antal Zigo lost about 3 seconds on that previous lap. The gap suddenly 4.9 seconds. So it's really closed up at the front of the field as Bacci will run out wide here, and Mosca will try and have him on the exit of the corner. That is going to give him the inside line when they eventually get up towards turn 3, having to take a little bit of the blue painted runoff area on the right-hand side as well. But side by side here with Mosca trying to take what will be 5th position overall, and the AF Corsa car does go through as Jedlinski also runs wide, so that should be a freebie there for Mosca, and I'm sure Jedlinski will be concerned about losing second position in Pro-Am. We might just hang on to it here. Mosca goes through into 4th. Bacci doesn't manage to make the move. Haase onto the back of Pierberg there as well, but there you see 2.5 seconds lost to Anthony Bartone for our race leader. It was a 133.2 last time round, so some sort of a mistake there from our race leader. As look at that, Bacci down the inside for second position in Pro-Am, doesn't quite manage to make the move stick.
Yeah, but ultimately now Haase ahead of Pierberg, and now 7th place, 1.1 back from Bacci as well as Jedlinski further up the run. So Haase looking to close very quick, and you never know, on the face of it, it could turn this entire classification upside down at this point. Obviously, they're more concerned about attributing these points, bringing that title fight closer to Levente Revesh. Obviously, the reigning champions here are the Easterlent Audi team.
It was another difficult lap for Antal Zigo there, 132.7, so quicker than the previous one. But the gap coming down by near enough, another 2 seconds. 3 seconds now between Zigo and Bartone, who still has Jaden Kelly all over him.
And if it continues, then I anticipate it'll be 2 laps. They will meet out on track. So
what is Zigo struggling with all of a sudden? Is he just burned through those tyres? I'd be surprised if he's done that. Here comes Haase, trying to get overall position. Oh, the nose being chopped over there by Eduardo Bacci, who's still trying to get around Jedlinski for second in class.
Yeah, he certainly is. Obviously, Haase did send a little bit of a message there to Bacci saying, listen, I'm coming. I need the position. Of course he does. He needs to try and close the gap on the back of Kelly and Bartone ASAP. More importantly, though, Mosca, who will be the next pro on his list. And now we have this battle unfolding elsewhere. We're running on board here with Mirko Bortolotti, the reigning DTM champion, with a nudge in the rear of the Mercedes in front. That's Levente Revesh, remember, folks. And Tom Emson around the outside as well. Is he going to go for the double here, Mirko Bortolotti? Of course, we know he has class. Either way, he's moved past Tom Emson here nonetheless. Obviously, just running out of road on the outset of Slosh Gold as we now watch them come through. Bortolotti hot on the heels now of Levente Revesh. They burst through this next segment. The Oregon car also looking to make moves further up. Also, Aaron Walker at the head of these two. Emson is in free fall right now as we watch them come through the latter stages on this lap.
Carl Bennett has not been forgiven, but only reprimanded for causing that collision with Stanislav Jedlinski. So Tommaso Mosca in the 51A, of course, no problems there in that 4th place car. And presumably he'll be closing in on Kelly and Bartone. As we see, this is how Tom Emson ended up in the gravel, with Reves not exactly leaving a Ferrari's width on the exit of the corner. Well, in fairness, he was also being punted from behind, wasn't he, by Bortolotti, for want of a better word, really. Kind of giving it some real DTM style out there, actually. They play rough, those boys.
The domino effect, I think, is probably definitely the cause here. We got wheel banging once again, this time between the Optimum and the Greystone once more. Of course, Steve McDonald at the wheel of the Greystone GT McLaren, with Mikey Porter for company and Porter around the outside.
That's payback for earlier.
It probably is. That's what we like to call a receipt, as now we see
this is for the lead.
Now looking to close up now for the overall lead. That's Zygo out in front. We mentioned that he was losing time. Just look at that. He's lost an almighty amount of time in that one portion of track alone since the last checkpoint on the lap. So here comes now Bartone, looking to now lift himself aloft. Salakada has just moved ahead of Valentin Pierberg as well, over 8th place. But Zygo now with 2 pro cars on his tail, and Jaden Kelly might look to take full advantage of this moment, because obviously with Bartone being held up by Zygo, it could offer an opening here for Jaden Kelly.
He got on the anchors in the middle of the ring curve. He had so much more speed, but didn't really know what to do with it. Keep an eye on Tommaso Mosca as well. He's only 2.4 behind these guys. White flag, going past the Alfredo Hernandez car. Oh, Bartone wide on the exit of the Lauda curve, trying to steal some slipstream from the race leader. Now, remember, that is a bronze driver at the helm of that BMW, so we expect the 2 pro cars to move through, but there's no promise of that at all. But Bartone keeping it tight on the exit of the corner. We've got 4 cars fighting for the win here from 4 different manufacturers. It's BMW, Mercedes, McLaren and Ferrari out there at the head of the field at the moment. Jaden Kelly again looking towards the inside. Bartone's very, very late on the brakes, does manage to get it into the apex, but again compromises his exit somewhat. And that is wheel banging between the 2nd and 3rd place cars in Pro-Am, with Bacci going through and Haase opening up the door for him as well. Kelly down the inside, very nearly contact again down at turn number 6, or turn number 7 for Jaden Kelly. He's all over the back of Bartone, and Mosca has well and truly arrived at the scene. Now we're heading up to the final 2 corners, 9 minutes to go. What a race this has been, with Bartone looking down the inside, nothing doing there, and again compromising in the middle of these 2 corners. Kelly having to get on the anchors, Mosca very close to it as well. 9 minutes to go. It's anybody's game.
It certainly is, and it might get closer as well, because Haase are also has got past Jedlinski, looking to move through the offing. In comes now Tommaso Mosca around the outside of Jaden Kelly through turn 1 at Lauder Curve this time around. May not get it done just yet, but it depends on the exit speed, and I think compromise now Jaden Kelly on the run uphill through towards turn 2, offering now an opportunity here for Mosca to unfurl that Ferrari power as they now go wheel to wheel this time over P3. A podium spot in contention now as they go side by side through turn 3, and indeed somehow Jaden Kelly comes out to the escape, wheel to wheel for the lead as well. Both places, all 3 places on the podium now being in contest here at this very point. Anton Zygo trying to hold on to the lead right now, but the better line on offer. Anthony Bartone up the inside, blink and you'll miss him. He's now in the lead of the race here with 8 minutes left here at Austria.
And Mosca into 3rd position as well. He needs to clear Zygo in a hurry if he wants to still win this race. Extraordinary stuff, and despite the 15 seconds of handicap, it could be back-to-back victories here for Mosca. If he can clear that car, Zygo having to leave space down the inside. Very heads-up driving there. Mosca's through into 2nd. Kelly all over the marbles, sliding that McLaren out of the chicane. Side by side for 3rd position now with Zygo, as Kelly does get around the outside again, gathering up some oversteer, this time on the entry into the Rint curve. That would have woken him up if he wasn't already. What a race, George. This has just been astonishing.
Well, now all of a sudden, 3 pro cars lead the top 3 places, and I think that's the first time we've seen that in this race so far. We have got nose to tail action further back as well. Haase is 3/10 off Batchy, who in turn is 1.2 off Zygo, so you never know. Might add Haase into this fight, make it a 4-way pro scrap.
Well, the Pro-Am fight is definitely up for grabs here, with Batchy about to arrive on the scene with Zygo. So Baron Motorsport could be winning on home soil here as well. Extraordinary stuff, and this is Mosca trying to go for the lead. Now it is Bartone suddenly with his mirrors, having been full of McLaren all race long since he started his stint, now full of Ferrari as Haase gets a lovely drive out of turn number 3 and is now side by side trying to catch some side draft from the Ferrari. It's twin turbo V6 against naturally aspirated V10, and Haase down the inside. Now remember, every point critical for them. It's overall points that matter for the pro runners. We've got yellow flags out at turn 9, the penultimate corner. Now there are no slow accidents there.
Is that
and
the Rigo car?
Yeah, that's the AF Corsa number 21 car that may well have been leading an hour. We've kind of neglected it really. Either way, it's Garage 59 who lead the way there now, but that of course is the team that has been on a run of 5 straight wins in the AM category, so that is significant. They're coming up to that yellow flag zone now. Will we get a safety car in the last 6 minutes? GetSpeed will be praying for one.
They absolutely will, and it could yet give Bartone and Schiller their first victory of the season as well, which they'll be hoping for, but it'll make life easier for them because they got Mosca on their tail, who certainly will not make this easy. Now, Mosca surely knowing about that car, as now Haase looks to go for a move for P4 overall, trying to get past Pro-Am's Anton Zygo has gone past as well, and now also the battle for the Pro-Am lead is about to erupt, and Philippe Salacada also coming into this too. He's now going wheel to wheel here with Edouard Batchy. We have got the lead though of the race in contest at turn 3. Mosca around the outside, Bartone with the defensive inside, covering off the move brilliantly so far. Haase now 3 seconds away from this top 3. Jaden Kelly with the best seat in the house right now, watching these two go at it toe to toe as now the Ferrari returns again through Slosh Gold. A golden move in the offing here now for Tommaso Mosca, chasing yet another victory this campaign, but Bartone showing that stiff defense once again will hold on to P1 with a mere 5 minutes left, but here comes Mosca again. Can't still do it, remains in 2nd place.
This is great driving from Bartone. He's been defending brilliantly. Salacada did manage to go through into 2nd in Pro-Am, crucially passing a fellow pro runner. ISR have just snuck up to this lead fight at all. We barely mentioned them. Green flags now waving at turn number 9 though, so that Gino Forgione car has been cleared, so they're free to overtake at this part of the racetrack now. That is track limits there from Tommaso Mosca. He's got to be careful not to do that too many times in the final 4.5 minutes of this race. What an extraordinary battle. It's still 4 different manufacturers fighting for the lead, with now Mercedes, Ferrari, McLaren and Audi now just 2 seconds back with Christopher Haase, and swapping places again between the Pro-Am runners with Batchy back through. This is quite the squabble further down the field as well.
I'd say what, Haas is the only car lapping inside the top 4 at 1:30 at the moment, and everyone else
one on track.
Yeah, and here comes now once again Mosca looking around the outside at turn 3. Once again, this is the battle for the lead. Bartone has been shutting every avenue for this move for the race lead here now in the closing minutes. He's trying his damnedest to gift himself and Schiller and Get Speed with a first win in their locker for this season now, but they're going to go toe-to-toe again, and Mosca, I think, has enough car, more than enough car, 3/4 of his car alongside Bartone, and through into the race lead he goes, but he's onto the gravel. Bartone back through again. They just can't keep the man down.
This is astonishing. I wish you guys could see the smile on my face watching this race. It's incredible stuff. And so a wild move from Tommaso Mosca that didn't quite pay off, and he's probably only got 2 more laps to try and get this sorted with 3 minutes left on the clock and about 1 minute 30 as a lap. So yeah, we're coming on to the penultimate lap of the race. Anthony Bartone fighting for his first victory of the season in alongside Fabian Schiller. Tommaso Mosca and Carl Bennett going for back-to-back victories. Jaden Kelly and Josh Raskin on GT3 debut, potentially in with a podium. Christopher Haase hoping to take the championship lead as well with a podium finish. Everyone has got so much to fight for here as we start the penultimate lap of the race.
Yeah. A perfect advert as well. If you're new here to the International GT Open,
where you
for
been?
manufacturers. Yeah, where have you been? 2 minutes and 30 to go here in the race. Mosca looking to climb a mountain here at Spielberg to try and also lift himself onto the top step. Bartone going very defensive to the inside. A better line may have been taken there by Mosca to give him the momentum on the run down through towards Schlossgold. They are nose to tail. All 4 cars now manacled together. Mercedes, Ferrari, McLaren, also for the back, the Audi. A little look there from Mosca, just trying to tempt something from Anthony Bartone, and Haase, crucially, could be in the equation for a big podium finish. What a Phoenix drive this has been, as though in comes Mosca. Another look at the inside. Bartone, definitely one of the most phenomenal performances I think we've seen from him to date.
Oh, dive on the inside again. Oh, that one didn't quite pay off. Mosca's getting a little bit desperate now, I think, trying to... Oh, look at that, over the marbles for Christopher Haase. He has managed to draw a little bit of an overlap there with Jaden Kelly for 3rd position. They bang wheels going into the Rindt curve, and Haase round the outside. Sensational stuff. Chops the nose there of the McLaren. Brilliant move for 3rd position there for Christopher Haase in a move that should give them enough points to take the championship lead away from Team Motorpark, with Levente Reves down in 13th at the moment. East Talent on home soil should leave the circuit today with the championship leaders. Things stay as they are. Lead battle for Pro-Am being disputed with Eduardo Bacci also now in the lead of that class as well. But it's the final lap of the race now, and it's Mosca once again to the outside at turn number 3, and right round the outside this time. Is this the move that's going to pay off? Yes, it is! On the final lap of the race, Tommaso Mosca to the lead. AF Corsa erupts.
The rise at Remus. The scarlet red hits the front. Tommaso Mosca looking to gift his team yet another victory in the International GT Open. They could be set to go back-to-back. Here in 2 races, they took victory in the last race back at Paul Ricard. It was a sensational moment that gave them their first. Their second could be just around the next few corners. Coming through Rochenberth, an astonishing drive. It has to be said. Credit to Bartone, though. He gave him a stand defence worthy of the very best, and I'm sure Schiller will give him a massive pat on the back. Haase with an incredible Phoenix performance to lift East Talent to the top of the championship lead, we believe. Remember, they came in 7 points between them and Revesh. Well, 8 points have been gained for East Talent, but all eyes on Tommaso Mosca. 2 sequential race wins in the locker. Ferrari win here in Austria in the first race of the weekend. Mosca is your victor, and so is Carl Bennett. An astonishing drive from those 2 to lift themselves to the top step of the podium. Anthony Bartone in 2nd, Christopher Haase in 3rd, and what a debut performance from Jaden Kelly and Josh Radican. Edward Bacci, Pro-Am winner, Chris.
Baron Motorsport
on top in the Pro-Am category in their home race for the Vienna-based squad. So Eduardo Bacci and Philip Barron on top, and just beating ISR's Philippe Salacada and Libor Milota, and a podium finish for Racing Trevor, Antal Zygo and Max Hesse in the car that started on pole position as well. What an extraordinary race though, George. I mean, how many contenders for victory did we have in that one? 4, 5?
Well,
from different manufacturers as well.
4
this
different ones.
Racing has just been astonishing. Absolutely brilliant. Last lap lead change, back-to-back victories for AF Corsa. One of the most earned victories we've seen. Bartone, brilliant defending in that one. East Talent taking the championship lead. It's 10 points for third. And so that will give them the championship lead on home soil. And my goodness me, I know we sang their praises enough, but Jake Kelly and Josh Rattigan, welcome to the world of GT3 racing. You are going to do very well here.
Yeah, just to correct myself, obviously Christopher Haase was in 4th place. That would have been enough alone to take the championship lead at that point, but instead taking a massive 3rd place. But Bennett and Mosca on top for the 2nd time this season, race winners, fresh off the back of their victory at Paul Ricard. They've gone back-to-back, and it's a run of 4 podiums as well. Bartone and Schiller in 2nd, with Christopher Haase and Simon Riker in a brilliant 3rd, a Phoenix performance. Jaden Kelly and Josh Rattigan on debut in 4th, ahead of Barron and Bacci, who are Pro-Am winners here today. Philip Salacada, Libor Milota, Pro-Am 2nd, ahead of Antal Zygo and Max Hesse. What an extraordinary performance for that BMW lineup as well. Jedlinski and Bash in 8th, ahead of Pierberg and Baumann. Klingman and Paulson down in 10th place as well for Paulson Motorsport. Further back, we also have Mirko Bortolotti, Artem Petrov in 11th, ahead of Levente Ravesh, Maxi Gertz, after their issues at the start when they had that tyre blowout. Nestov Kisilov 13th, Kirkmeyer and Alto in 14th place. Then comes Berman and Voss in 15th. Jans and Walker further back as well. We also have Dean McDonald, Lucas Dunner, Mikey Porter, Ralph Aaron, Enzo Grazzi, as well as Fabio Babini, Stuart White, Michael Blanchimont, Tom Emson, then Lewis Michael Dorbecker, Marco Polcini winning in the AM class alongside Mark Sampson. That will throw them straight back into the mixer for the AM Championship lead as well. Darren Kell, Amir Naran, Alfredo Hernandez, Christian Kozlowski, Gino Forgione, and we lost Dexter Muller early on. But take a bow to Marco Mosca, a sterling drive in that 2nd stint.
Anthony Bartone just sort of almost fell to his knees after what has been a fantastic drive.
Yeah, brilliant performance
from that one. And
from all, the entire top 3 were sensational. I mean, on one level you got Mosca, who had to chase, had to unlock the door on a stern Anthony Bartone. Bartone's defensive driving, easily the best I think we've seen since he began racing in this championship. And you've got to give credit to these two. After the issues,
what a stint.
What a stint. Obviously, Simon Riker was unlucky on his stint, lost a little bit of time to cars behind from what we could only believe was a gravel visit. And then, having served the handicap they were meant to serve, fighting in the final stint then for Haase, incredible.
Yeah, so today, Riker had struggles in the first stint. Fabi Schiller in the car that finished 2nd had some weird issue where he suddenly lost a bunch of places. And then Tommaso Mosca coming back from, it was contact for Carl Bennett, and then also a 15-second handicap. Let's hear from them.
So we have the winners of this great battle at the Red Bull Ring. Carl Bennett, Tommaso Mosca. We start with Carl for the first stint. How was it?
Yeah, very, very racy in the beginning, a lot of battling, managed to pick up a bunch of good positions, and then after that I handed it off to Tommaso.
And then he did the job, good fight, and last lap, winning P1.
Yeah, it was a very good job. The car was great as always from former AF Corsa. We did a very, very clever overtake. So in the last laps, no contacts, no nothing. And it was a good race. Carlo did a very good job, and we're ready for race 2 tomorrow.
Well done. It's the 2nd win of the season, and maybe more later. Well done, guys.
Well, we'll try and put this into a highlight reel for you, folks. What a start it was indeed. A great start, of course, from the BMW at the very beginning. We saw, of course, Tom Leben running out wide in the opening stint. Johannes Selger getting caught as well with Dexter Muller. I think that's where the tie came from, actually, leading to the retirement for Muller himself. Mark Sampson, unfortunately, got caught in behind the car belonging to Maxi Gertz, who eventually had to come into the pits. Leben also coming into the pits as well fairly early on before the driver change period for a reason we're not quite sure about, but easily a move that really did drop them down through the order. Of course, a phenomenal start for Josh Rattigan, who moved past Carol Bash as well in the early goings, getting past the treble 7 Ferrari. Later, the driver change window came into play. Jaden Walker swapping in for Josh Rattigan, and Walker just carrying on from where Rattigan left off, moving past, of course, the Dominic Baumann Mercedes-AMG GT3, and it was down to Antel Zygo to take over the services inside the BMW. Fabian Schiller later on swapped over with Anthony Bartone, who moved past the treble 7 belonging to Marcin Jedlinski. He was met with Jaden Kelly, though. These two would furiously fight right the way through. Eventually, they would catch Antal Zygo. Tommaso Mosca would move past Kelly as well for P3 in the race. Bartone carrying on with the overall race lead. Mosca later got past Zygo himself after getting past Jaden Kelly. The Ferrari then went on a mega sprint, chasing after the Mercedes-AMG GT3, brought to you by Get Speed as well, and eventually a crescendo happened at the top of turn 3. Trying to find the Tiger line around the outside at the top of the hill. Mosca unfurled the power inside his Ferrari 296, eventually taking it to on-track victory to mark their second race win and back-to-back as well from Paul Ricard. And of course, this is what it's done to the championship. Christopher Haase and Simon Riker now, no surprise, have taken the lead of the championship on 102. They are now clear by 3 points to Levente Ravesh, who still remains on 99. Carl Bennett and Tommaso Mosca, with such an important win, throws them even closer in this title fight. 87 points against their name, and they are currently ahead of Tom Leben and Tom Empson as well by 8 points. Zach Meakin, Mikey Porter down in 5th as well on 76, only 3 behind Leben and Empson, with Anthony Bartone on 75, a point behind the Optimum Motorsport pairing.
So when you consider we've got double points at Monza and 3 more sprint races to come as well.
It's anybody's championship.
Well, yeah. The AF Corsa, even Elite, they're still well in this fight, but closing up very much. Again, it twos and fro's once again between Haase and Riker and Levente Ravesh. Wasn't his day, of course, but yeah, just 3 points in it with 4 races still remaining.
The only good news for Ravesh is that can be a drop score, you know, so
yeah, because, you know, he's been so consistent. His worst finish is the 1 point, so the 10th place finish in Paul Ricard, and then obviously no points today. So yeah, he would drop 1 point down to 98. But well, if we're going to do the math, then Riker and Haase would be dropping 5 actually. So yeah, we'll see.
Anything can happen though in the next 3 rounds. At the same time.
Absolutely.
Well, the next 2 after this.
Absolutely. Of course, yeah. I think Mosca and Bennett, they'd have to drop 6, I think. So yeah, they're a little bit closer in terms of the overall, but once we apply the drop scores, I think it spreads out a little bit more. But that's something to worry about at Monza.
Yeah.
As Simon Riker and East Talent on the podium in their home race. And yeah, again, what a sterling second stint there from Christopher Haase. I think we're just waiting for Anthony Bartone and Fabian Schiller to make their way to the podium. Here they are. And I'm afraid, once again, it's the bridesmaid's position for Anthony Bartone. And it is his 4th podium of the season. I'm trying to think, were they all with Fabi this year? Yes, they were. Of course, he had... wasn't Philip Ellis. He had another Mercedes factory driver with him in Budapest, but there is Tommaso Mosca and Carl Bennett, and the team manager there as well for back-to-back victories in the International GT Open is the Italian national anthem.
Well, the rest of the Ferrari team, of course, the team singing along, and for good reason. They have been on a tremendous run, it has to be said. If we just extrapolate Carl Bennett and Tommaso Mosca's performances over the last 4 races, it has been 4 podiums in succession. Second in race 2 at Hungaroring. It was third at Paul Ricard in race 1. Victory then in the following race, race 2 at Paul Ricard, and they've just managed to secure back-to-back victories as well. 4 podiums on the run, and really coming into their best form in the second half of the season, Chris.
They certainly are. We just saw new championship leaders there. Their 6th trophy of the season. But, yeah, very excited to see how these guys continue to perform. Of course, they'll be hit with more handicap. It'll be 20 seconds for them tomorrow now, so an additional 5 seconds to have to take tomorrow compared to what they did today. So it's going to be tough for them to make it a triple, I'd say. But nonetheless, they, of course, are looking incredibly competitive in the second half of this season. So Fabian Anthony just joined them on the top step of the podium. Of course, Get Speed will be very busy sending their cars over to Suzuka for the 1,000 kilometers next week, which many of the drivers that you'll see here are also taking part in. So the well-deserved champagne, well, about to be sprayed.
Slightly delayed.
Few more photos there.
I think someone blinked in the shot, I think, for the first one. Can't imagine who it was. But anyway, spraying the champagne, and it will be Christopher Haas, and he immediately sprints away. That was, I must say, that was impressive from Haas. Actually managed to spray everybody and then leap away before anyone could get him back.
He's a pro at this sort of thing.
You can tell he's been here before.
Around a long time doing this. Pretty sure he'll be doing
World
it long
class.
after we're gone as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, look at that. That's the happiest room in Paul Ricard. Just making sure we have the correct logos being displayed on the overalls.
I mean, credit to Baron Motorsport as well. I mean, on coming in and winning the Pro-Am class. I mean, great drive from Edouard Bacci. But especially for the team boss himself, Philip Baron, who was a late-minute addition to drive the car. Well, he's just not only just been a late addition, he's driven the car, and they've driven it to Pro-Am victory.
Yeah, astonishing. Of course, he joined us in Budapest, didn't he? I'm trying to find out where they actually finished in that one. They were incredibly rapid straight out of the box. Yeah, it was a victory in Budapest as well. I thought it was. My memory served me correctly. So it's a second victory of the season for Bacci and Baron, despite technically not supposed to be teammates really for the full season, but circumstances has allowed that to be the case. So incredible stuff on home soil as well for Philip Baron and his eponymous team. As now we have Antal Zigo and Max Hesse making their way to the podium. And for the first time, of course, it was a lot of promise in Budapest. Didn't quite get the results, but now it is the podium for Racing Trevor. It's second place for ISR, Libor Milota and Philippe Salakada. That's a very popular win down in Parc Ferme. Great stuff from the Czech team, but the home heroes, Eduardo Bacci and Philip Baron, for their second Pro-Am win of the season. Trying to look, neither of our top 2 in the championship finished on the podium today in Pro-Am, but I make it the SBS pairing, Valentin Pierberg and Dominic Baumann, now leading that championship by 1 point to Aaron Walker and Steve Yance. So the Pro-Am fight once again just being absolutely incredible.
Well, I mean, if you look at the numbers, it was 2 coming into the round anyway.
Yeah.
So you know, they've just maybe now next time it'll be 0, and yeah, it'll continue to climb downwards. But no, incredible, and such a great fight in the Pro-Am class, lifting the trophies aloft for good reason. Of the Baron pairing, Philip Baron, of course, coming in late, but doing a fantastic job. Credit to Antal Zigo, gave it his best at the very end. Didn't give the pro drivers any respite. They had to really work to get past him, and rightfully so as well. Credit to also the Czech combination of Filip Salakada, Libor Milota back again in the Pro-Am class. They're going to get the chance to spray the champagne here and now celebrate a Pro-Am P2. A miraculous performance on their part, and only their, if I'm recording this correctly, that is, of course, yet another podium going against their name, making that podium number 3, sorry, if I'm not mistaken.
For ISR?
Yeah.
Yes, podium number 3.
Yeah.
Following up the win in Hockenheim, second place in Budapest, and still third in the championship, 14 points away from the championship leaders. Might be a little bit out of reach, but certainly a big step up. Remember last year when the car was punted into a concrete barrier and then pulled out of the entire weekend? That team has come an awfully long way from their first year of European competition last season to where they are now.
Quite an outrageous blend that we're currently seeing here for Marco Pulcini. I mean, if you just take a look at the overalls, very obviously donning the Ferrari-based colours on his overalls. Obviously driving the McLaren today alongside Mark Sampson.
It's still very weird
it
to
feels
me.
very strange.
Like Tempesta Racing in his other European program, but in a Ferrari, of course, two-time Pro-Am champion with Eddie Cheever over the last 2 years. It's great to have Marco back with us and on the top step of the podium. So it's Emir Naran third. Once again, it is a third podium of the season for Emir. Darren Kell, James Kell's father, second on debut. I think not used to racing in Europe at all. He's done some club racing that has took him to Spa-Francorchamps, but this is his first major European race and second in class. Very nicely done. And for Mark Sansom, it is a third win of the season, and with the Gino Forgione and Michele Rugolo dramas later in that race, I believe that they are now tied on points in the AM Championship between the 21 AF Corsa and Mark Sampson from Garage 59 with that win, with also the help of Marco Pulcini.
And 2 McLarens, of course, on the podium here in AM class as well. They did not get on the podium in Pro-Am or Pro, but managed to take the victory, of course, at the very top step, obviously, in AM class, and now also P2, and a great visit here for Darren Kell. A little reminder, though, of our 3 drivers at the very top of the order. Christopher Haase, of course, taking third place, along with Simon Riker. Second place for Anthony Bartone, and, of course, Fabian Schiller, who took the opening stint. A grand defensive effort. You can see the shark face on the helmet of Anthony Bartone, but it would eventually be Carl Bennett, Tommaso Mosca, 2-time race winners now this season, and look to bring an end to a phenomenal first race of the weekend. We have plenty more to bring you, though. We'll see you tomorrow.